Hello, everyone. How you doing? This is Terry Armstrong, co-founder of TCM, and we are here with our very first episode of Lemons to Lemonade: Stories of Innovation. Um, this Lemons to Lemonade is a concept related to um, overcoming for entrepreneurs. Uh, it's a platform where we discuss how entrepreneurs maneuver through the landscape of starting a business and dealing with all the challenges, and then figuring out how they innovate to create a successful business model or business. So we're going to take this platform, take the time to talk to different entrepreneurs and discuss with them the things they've had to do to overcome. So today's guest, and I see, let me just make sure I see he's trying to get in.
Here.
How you doing?
I'm okay.
Can't see you. I only see the top of your head.
I'm trying to see my. Oh, there we go. Let me see. There we go.
There we go. There we go. How you doing today?
I'm all right. I'm okay.
All right. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. Great.
I can hear you.
Great. So today's guest is a really great man. He's a author, a serial entrepreneur, successful many times over, and a civil rights activist. He's a founder of McBride Research Laboratories. Was a co-founder of M&M Products. I just want to welcome Cornell McBride Sr. to today's podcast. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm great, man. Good being on with you guys.
Oh, great. Thank you for joining us. I was just giving them a brief overview about what we talk about on this platform. It's really about how entrepreneurs like yourself have, went through life, faced some challenges, and, basically took some lemons and made some lemonade and created a successful business. Mm-hmm. And we want to talk about some of the things, some of the ways you've innovated and things you've had to do creatively to create a successful business or maybe business model, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. But before we jump into that, what I want to do, if you could take a few minutes just to tell people about your upbringing and kind of the things that helped you become the man you are today.
Okay. I'm originally from Savannah, Georgia. And of course, my generation was a generation of the 40s and the 50s and the 60s,
Mm-hmm.
In Savannah, when I was coming up, segregation was the order of the day.
Yeah.
And Black folks didn't have a whole lot going for themselves. And most of the Black people worked common labor or in the mills, as they would say.
Okay.
And so, my parents worked at what was called the Savannah Refinery. And I was supposed to end working too once big age. And of course, along the way, I decided to develop some different, because to tell you what happened is it came about, and it really taught us that we could do more than we were doing. And aside from the going into restaurants to eat, there were other possibilities. And one of the things that I got of the family, starting with a promise I made to my mom to build her a house one day. And I was all of 12 years old.
Okay.
So that's how I got started with the notion of trying to do better for myself and for the family. And with that promise that I made to her, I set out to accomplish that. That became my mission in life. Yeah.
Okay.
So
great. One of the reasons I really wanted to invite you and I want you to be my first guest is because I don't know, a lot of people sometimes don't understand how relatable entrepreneurs are, and I would consider you common folk like myself, from upbringing standpoint, and it's not always where you start but where you end up, and you're very intentional with how you approach life, sounds like.
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, you got to have, to me, you've got to have some goals and things that you want to do, and you got to have principles that you're going to live by and make decisions by, because at the end of the day, we are a compilation of all of the decisions that we make.
So true.
And if we don't make good decisions, we're not going to get good results.
That
you
is
know.
so true. That is so true. Wow, wow. Well, let's go ahead and just jump into the entrepreneurial journey that you've been on for quite a while now. Like as I said before, you founded two businesses, very successful businesses. But what I wanted to talk about is just some of the things you know when I look at the current landscape out there, you know, and just what you were looking at that time, kind of what are some of the things you saw, what opportunities you saw, and what ways did you think about, you know, doing things differently that, you know, created a neat, maybe not even a niche, but it created a better way to address the market that you were looking at the time. And then what, you know, what was that process for you?
Well, actually, again, I went to school to become a pharmacist,
That's
and
true.
that was, let's, kind of put that in there. Along the way, I also got married before I did anything, you know.
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
got married and I went into the military, So I went into the military, I got married, and then I came out of the military, went to school. But the reason I
Hmm.
went to school in the first place, or to the military in the first place, was to get an education,
Hmm.
and I knew that I needed some kind of base, some kind of, education, not some kind, but something that I could hang my hat on.
Okay.
And as a result of doing that, I ended up in pharmacy school and graduating in pharmacy. I had no idea I was going to end up there, but I
Okay.
wanted to have something that, again, that would allow me to accomplish the objective of building a house for my mom. Because when I
Okay.
first started out, I thought I was going to be a great baseball player, and that's how I was going to build this house. You know,
Okay.
but I never quit. I never stopped trying. And one of the things about entrepreneurs, successful one, is they don't quit. You know, they keep
Hmm.
going. They find
Yes.
ways. They improvise. And
Hmm.
so I didn't know I was going to end up in pharmacy school. But once I was there, you know, um, I started to make the most out of that.
Hmm.
And this happened that one of my fellow pharmacy classmates and I came up with this idea of making a hair product.
Okay.
And he introduced me to it, you know.
Okay.
And I looked at it and I used the product. And at time, we were trying to wear an afro,
Hmm.
back in the day. And
Yep.
it was hard to get kinky hair to stand up, you know.
Okay.
And the large companies tried different things, but they were not that successful with it. And so what we found was that if something that softened our hair, that the hair would grow up this afro. And we proved
Hmm.
that in school by making the product and giving it to people and having them get test the results. And that gave us the encouragement to go ahead and put this product on the market. Mind you, we had no money.
Okay.
All we had was a product. We understood the market because we were the market,
Yep.
and we went out there with $500. As a matter of fact, we started that first business with $500. Each one of
Wow.
us had $250. That's what we had, you know. And we
I
we we
just got to start
actually,
somewhere.
yeah, we actually made 1,000 bottles of product. 1,000 bottles of product out of that $500. That include the bottles, the cap, the ingredients, everything. You know,
Wow.
out of that $500, and we
Okay.
turned that over. We
Hmm.
sold that 500 bottles of product and reinvested the money back in the company, and we kept doing that. Because we were pharmacists by then, and
Hmm.
so we didn't really need to live off of the business. And so
Hmm.
we just kept reinvesting the sales back into the company until we got to the point to where the company um, grew. And of course, I started in my basement, like a lot of
Hmm.
small businesses, and grew right out of the basement. And first building we rented was 3,000 square feet. And so we were just on this growth spurt because, one, like I said, we kept investing money back in the company to grow and to achieve more distribution and create more marketing, more market share. And so that's how we got started.
Yeah.
That's how Stay Soft Fro got started.
Thank
So
you, thank you. Stay
we,
for
we
people
went
who
from
don't
there,
know,
and the
Stay
next
South
thing we
Frey.
know, huh?
Yeah, I said for people who didn't know, maybe some younger people, Stay South Fro, M&M products, huge success, huge success.
Yeah, Stay Soft Roll, M&M products. In the day with Johnson products, all those guys were a lot bigger than us. We were like new guys
Mm,
on the block, and they just ignored us because they didn't understand the category. We took time
mm,
to understand the category. And as a result of understanding the category, we knew what the category needed, you know. And here, you wouldn't think that with all the money they had in the labs and everything else, that many of the products that they were making, they had made something called the Easy Comb back then. And it was
mm,
designed to make your hair easier to comb. However, it just made your hair real hard. But after, it'll make it easy in the morning, but by afternoon it would dry up and
mm.
it'd be hard to comb. And so
Okay,
we solved that problem. So a lot of success really is solving a problem.
thank you, thank
Solving
you,
a
thank you.
problem.
That's where
There are a lot of
innovation
problems.
starts at.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you're addressing a very real need for your customers.
That's right. That's right. And that's how we got started. And of course, once you start, you got to put your whole self in there.
Mm-hmm.
You got to immerse yourself in there to understand every aspect of the business and the market that you're in, and who else
Okay.
is out there, and what are they doing, and
Mm-hmm.
how can I do a better job than them? I don't care if it's through distribution or whatever it might be, but you have to immerse yourself in that business and become a 24/7 thing. It's a
Yeah.
24-hour a day thing that you're always thinking about that business and what you can do to make it better. And
Okay.
that's how we got started with that first business.
Okay. And you brought up something very interesting, distribution. And I know through personal knowledge, the innovations from a distribution model perspective you did with your second company,
Hmm.
McBride Research Laboratories.
Hmm.
Innovation happens in a lot of different areas, not just product development, also in your business model. Can you talk a little bit about, just how that came about?
Well, by the time I started McBride Research, I had 18 years in the industry. So I
Mm-hmm.
understood the industry and I
Yep.
understood the different distribution patterns. You had people like Soft Sheen and all of those guys out there. You've had um, Dudley Products and you had Affirm and all of them. And so when I looked at them, um, I admired certain aspects of their model. You know,
Okay.
I admired the fact that Dudley was a direct to salon model with people dressed in suits and that they went to that salon every 2 weeks on time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they were known for. I admired the fact that Affirm was a company that was known for its quality products, that they made
Mm-hmm.
high quality products. And I thought that each one of those guys needed what the other one was doing. I thought
Mm,
that Dudley needed Affirm's quality and Firm needed Dudley distribution.
mm.
I said, okay, so I'll be that guy.
Got it.
So,
All right. So
so
you
I,
you
I
innovated
became that
on
guy.
the
Yeah,
best of both companies, and this is a new company, a new
right.
offering.
That's
Okay.
right. That's right.
All right. Cool.
And plus, I concluded that in my model, I made my distributors self employed. So I allowed them to make more money than they ever made before.
Wow.
So therefore, I changed the model around, to
Mm-hmm.
where distribution became the key and each person became his own boss.
Oh, that's a huge thing for people. Even back then, becoming an entrepreneur, being your own boss, being your own company.
That's
That's a
right.
that's a huge feather in the cap for people.
Yeah. Yeah. But, and I had some challenges because number one, people don't have money to start businesses.
Mm.
How do you gonna do that? And I had a lot of people that I gave some product to and got them started, and they sold the first couple $1,000 worth of product and ran off with the money, and I never saw them again. you know, but that's okay. The product was good enough that once they sold the product, the people would come looking for me
Mm.
because
Yeah,
I
got
made sure that the quality was good. You
you.
know,
Okay.
and
Yep.
that we did have high quality product that people liked, and once they use them, they wanted some more. And,
Mm.
again, that's another whole story in terms of, developing your product. It's
Mm-hmm.
got to be something that is a unique way. And so once that those people, failed, if you will. I didn't stop, because
Okay.
soon afterwards I would get another distributor in that area. I kept going until I looked around one day and I had over 100 people out there in the street. But it started with
Wow.
one.
Started with one.
Yeah.
Okay. All
And
right.
the whole idea of creating that channel of distribution, which was a little different. It was really the Dudley model in a sense, but high quality.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. So innovation
Yeah.
can come from a hybrid of a lot of different things when you think
Right.
about it. Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So one of the questions I wanted to ask is, for you, what are we talked a little bit about it. You made a lot of entrepreneurs. What are some of the qualities, characteristics of entrepreneurs that you think are necessary to really be successful? Because in this day and age,
Self-starters.
self-starters.
You see, the
Okay.
entrepreneur, the successful one, they go to work no matter what the conditions are outside. It's raining. Some people, if you employ people on a payroll, a lot of time, they'll look for every excuse not to work. It's too hot today. I'm not going outside. It rained today. I'm not going so and so and so and so. So all these excuses. Entrepreneurs don't accept excuses because they know they have to get the job done. They're dependent upon themselves. You see? And if a person never take on the responsibility of depending completely on themselves, then it's hard to be a successful entrepreneur because you have a lot of time out there in which things just not working right. Sometimes you got to know when to back down, when to have talk to people, when to relax your mind, keeping in focus that you have to solve the problem, whatever it might be. But you really have to have that notion that there's a solution to this problem, and I'm going to
Gotcha.
figure out how to solve it. And that's that
Okay.
no quit thing, that you got to have as an entrepreneur.
Okay. When you look at today's landscape, what do you see for entrepreneurs of this day and age? I mean, I know you're and I forgot to add real estate developer to your list of many things that you do. But as you look at the landscape, what do you think as entrepreneurs you see that maybe some entrepreneurs should be looking at?
I don't know. I mean, like I said, because it all depends on that person's interest and what's out there and how you really do examine that opportunity.
Okay.
So I don't know. I backed in. You mentioned real estate, but I backed into that.
Okay.
I didn't go set out to be a real estate developer. I
Mm-hmm.
thought that the deal I had with my partner, I had a partner that he was going to be the real estate developer, and I was going to supply the land.
Yeah.
But once our relationship, um, broke down, I had to become a developer. And so I understood enough about the business to realize that this is feasible. And of course, at the time, we were in the middle of the recession. So I had to wait until after the recession had subsided before I could start really building homes and stuff. And so, but I understood in a broad sense, and I'm still learning. I'm still learning that business. I don't know that business. I'm learning it, And so for me, there are most people developing, they have to hurry up and build so that they can move on to the next project.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
so what they do is that if you're building custom home, they buy land, put in infrastructure, and then they sell the lots a lot of time to builders who come in and speculate on building houses, and they throw it all
Yes.
together like that. My approach is a little different. I have my own resources, and so I want high quality to be the things that I'm known for. I want uniqueness to be what I'm known for. And
Okay.
you look around, and there were no gated communities out there. And the one thing that we all know in this environment today is that people are looking for safety.
Yes.
And so I decided to develop, for my development to be based on being secure, being safe, truly built custom homes where the owner is involved, in building that house, and we'll be building it to their specification.
Okay.
It might take us 12 months to build a house.
Okay.
because the owner a lot of times is buying stuff and getting stuff and doing stuff, and we don't shut it off. Some builders will shut it off in about 2 or 3 months. You got to have all the idea and changes you're gonna have because they don't have time. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a different approach to it because of my background and because of my own resources. I don't have to be on that same clock. But at
Got
the
you.
but the other side is that I'm building a product where, my lot prices and all of the things there is going to be more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
It's more expensive to live in my development because
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving you, not just the gate, but we are moving towards live security. That's one of the things that
Mm-hmm.
we'll do down the road. So you see, I'm building it around what I'm capable of doing as opposed to what everybody else was doing.
Okay, and that brings up an interesting point in terms of entrepreneurs and just looking for opportunities. You can A lot of us have innate abilities and
Hmm.
talents and passions that, if we really tapped into it the right way, there's an opportunity there that if we can, pervade the landscape and understand what's going on. And to your point, is really know the business,
Hmm.
really understand what you have to offer, and then you can build from that. A lot of times
Yeah.
people just don't delve into it enough. They have an idea and they don't go really get the knowledge base they need to make an idea come to fruition and become a successful business. So I see that a lot. Would you say that that's relatively the case a lot of times when people think about becoming an entrepreneur? Is that, hey, I see it, I don't want to do all that extra work it takes to really make it come to life?
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the truth is that, like I said, you have to pour yourself into a business.
Mm-hmm.
You have to eat and sleep that business. You got to be really willing to read about that business and to
Mm-hmm.
understand the other players in that business and what is it that they're doing, how are
Okay.
they doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Before you may decide, like I did, I don't want to do it the way they're doing it.
Yeah.
So I
Mm-hmm.
created my own way of doing it, which
Okay.
is working for me. It's taken me, now mind you, it has taken me longer to build it out, but my product is different than any other product in the area, and that's what I want. I want that differentiation. I want something that's better. I want something that's unique, you know
Mm-hmm.
and of course, I'm not trying to build based on just volume and number of homes. No, 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 I don't want to do it like that. And
Mm-hmm.
so in business, you've got to be able to emerge and to understand it and to read about it and to know the competition and all the things that's going on in that category in order to be successful. And you decide, you make decisions. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
have a gated community, for instance, and I'm going to end up with live security. I'm not trying to be like Eagles Landing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have a country club and all the rest of the stuff like that. But there are
Yes.
other things that we can do. We could have some nice walking trails. We can
Mm-hmm.
have a nice putt golf course in there and stuff like that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we can have playgrounds. We can
Okay.
do some other things that people may want in a development other than having it be like Eagles Landing or any of these other large developments. So it's
Okay.
uniqueness again. It's uniqueness.
Okay, and I was just about to comment on that. Is that it sounds like what you're telling us is that you have to find what's unique about your business offering and play to that,
And play
you
that.
know, and
That's
that's
right.
your innovation. Really, is that we're different.
Right.
That's what you're marketing on. We're different.
Right.
There's a group of people out here that may want this,
Right.
and that's what we market. Okay, that makes a
Right.
lot of sense to me. A lot of sense. A lot of sense.
Yeah.
So this is one of those questions, and we're actually in the still in a pandemic,
Hmm.
still dealing with those things. I see a lot of entrepreneurs starting businesses in this environment, which I guess is, if you looked at it, it's kind of counterintuitive
Hmm.
because it's just so much unknown that people are like, why would I start a business in the middle of this? But my hypothesis is that people have had enough time sitting still to think about what they really want for themselves,
Hmm.
and they realize, you know what, I want to try something different, and they're doing that. Do you happen to see that these days, that a lot of people are trying things they wouldn't have normally did because they just stayed in their 9 to 5 regular routine?
There is, I don't know if there's a good time and a bad time to start a business. Most of the time, it's really based on trying to fulfill a need,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
And when I started Products, we were in a recession. And I remember going to
Mm.
the bank and trying to talk. We had sold that 1,000 bottles many times over, by the way. And when we went to the bank to ask them about a loan, we had no collateral or anything. They said to us, "You I must be out of your mind. Don't you know we are in a recession?" And we were thinking to ourselves, hell, we can't even fill the orders we have, and you tell me we're in a recession. Y'all may be in a recession, but I'm not in a recession. So that was a difference. So
Mm-hmm.
even in a recession or even in downtime, if the niche is right, then it can work. In
Mm-hmm.
terms of that niche for that group of people, you got to really try to understand who is the group of people I'm trying to speak to, and what
Mm-hmm.
is it I'm trying to sell them or get them
Mm-hmm.
involved in, you know, and all of this stuff is not, to me, it's not a bunch of sophisticated kind of analysis and all. I do a lot in my head, to tell you the truth, and to really get directional about it
Mm-hmm.
and to understand it. I understand you got to formalize the process, but I'm saying that I spend a lot of time just thinking about the business and bringing other people in. I met with a young lady a couple of weeks ago, and she was a friend of my wife, and
Mm-hmm.
she came out to the development, and I left there high as a kite talking to her. She know more about the business than I do, so that's
Yeah.
fine. That's good. So
Mm-hmm.
I was able to listen and to get some good ideas for free from her,
Oh,
and I'm going
okay.
to invite her to come back, because another thing about being an entrepreneur is that I listen. I'm a hell of a listener,
Mm-hmm.
and listening to people, I'm not afraid to put an idea I may have on the side, or in face of something that's better. And
Mm-hmm.
so I really believe in listening to what people say. I don't have to do everything that they say, but I do not object to what a person is saying outright. You
Okay.
know, I listen for long enough to understand and try to appreciate, is this good for me or bad for me or indifferent, or what is this still? But this lady had a lot of good information that she shared with me,
Well, okay.
and
And
didn't
you bring
start
up
me
a
up.
very good topic. Because collaboration. Sometimes you got to realize you're not the smartest person in the room,
That's
and
right.
you got to go get the help you need to really make something work.
That's right.
And putting a really good team together. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs they get enamored with, I want to be my own boss. It's got to be my way. This, et
Hmm.
cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Hmm.
And I think it's critical to success to know when it's time to bring in other people. Would you
Other
would you
people.
echo that? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I was having a conversation last weekend with my brother, my two brothers, well, the two brothers in Savannah. We was
Mm-hmm.
having a nice visit, and my brother, the one I'm speaking of, has been very successful. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and he is a longshoreman. He was a longshoreman. He's retired now. But one of the things that I try to explain to him is that, don't, just because you've been successful, don't just shut your mind off to what other people may be saying about something.
Yeah.
Assume
Mm-hmm.
that you're the smartest guy in the room, because
Mm-hmm.
you forego a lot of opportunities simply by thinking like that. And so,
Mm-hmm.
no, I mean, anytime a person think, let me back up. You know what I always say is
Listen.
that if you take one battery and you put it in a flashlight, you can actually get a light.
Mm.
It'll work. But
Yeah.
if the flashlight can take two, you got much stronger lighting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so as you number batteries, what you're creating is synergy, to where the total number of batteries are stronger than any one of them batteries. You see,
Yes.
but that's what you try to
Mm-hmm.
do as a business person, is that you want to create synergy with all of the people that you involve yourself with, so that
Mm.
they know that they can tell you what they think, if they agree or disagree, give you their true opinion.
Okay.
You don't want to have an environment where a person is afraid to speak freely.
Mm.
And so that's
Mm-hmm.
that's that's been a motto of mine for years, and it's something that I live by.
Okay, great, great, great. Well, we're actually coming to the end of today's podcast. So, is there any final words you want to leave with anyone
Hmm.
watching?
Well,
Is there any?
Tremendous, huh?
Mm-hmm. Now go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying that being an entrepreneur has been a tremendous, joy for me.
Okay.
I love being an entrepreneur. I love working with people and stuff, and so it's ultimate to me in happiness. And I don't do it just for me. I try to involve all the people that work within the organization because I want that person who working with me to achieve their goals too. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want them to just work for me and it's all about me. No, it's about you achieving yours too. And so it's been one of the things that I'm just thrilled about having had a life as an entrepreneur.
Okay, great, great, great. Well, I want to thank you for being our first guest on our first podcast. Once again, this is Cornell McBride Sr., the founder of McBride Research Laboratories and makers of Design Essential products here in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. So once again, thank you, sir, for joining
Okay.
us. It's been my pleasure. I really appreciate it. All
All
right.
right.
Thank you.
All
Bye-bye.
right.